Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good. And we're going to be talking all about the Community Legal Center. We are honored to be joined by Spencer Beckman. He's the Director of Development and Communications, and Diana Combs, the Executive Director. How are you two doing?
Doing great.
Yeah.
We are excited to have you on. You are doing tremendous good on a lot of fronts. Let's start with a little bit of a history lesson. Diana, give us some history for the Community Legal Center.
Sure. Thank you. I'm glad to. The Community Legal Center has been around since 1994. We are a nonprofit law firm located in downtown Memphis. We provide legal services to individuals who make between 125% and 300% of the federal poverty limits. So these are folks that make a little bit too much money to qualify for free legal aid through Memphis area legal services, but it's not quite enough to realistically be able to go out and hire a private attorney on their own, which can be expensive, as we all know. So we kind of step into that gap and we make sure that these people, these hardworking Memphians, have someone to represent them in court to help them with their legal problems, so that they don't have to be forced to choose between going it alone and representing themselves in court, or really overextending themselves to hire a really expensive private attorney. So we provide legal services in a few different areas, including civil law. We help people with divorces, guardianships, conservatorships, and we help them plan their estates. We charge low sliding scale fees for these services. And we also have a fairly substantial program that helps people with their immigration legal needs. So we can help folks with family and humanitarian-based immigration needs, as well as providing civil legal aid for immigrants in the Memphis area. And again, we charge low sliding scale fees for those services as well.
Talk about the caseload, the number of cases, your team. So give us some of the numbers, if you will, in terms of what you can take on and what's the capacity for a given year.
So numbers, unsurprisingly, are up on the tail end of, or hopefully the tail end of the pandemic. We as an organization are comprised of 15 staff members. So there's Diana, myself, and then we have Gortria, who serves as our Assistant Executive Director. But the rest of our employees are really doing the legal facing work with our clients. Again, like Diana said, there's a multiplicity of programs that we offer and work within. But that being said, within the Memphis area, our numbers, again, are going up and up every single year. I believe that we are handling somewhere around 200 to 300 cases at a time within the Memphis area, within any of our different programs. Certainly within our elder law program, we are working with individuals who've been referred to us lots of times through the Korea program. So that's a referral basis, but everything else really is people that reach out directly to the Community Legal Center or referred to us through other partners throughout town.
And when you look at navigating, to your point, you need somebody who can help you, because the legal system can be very complex and very intimidating. And so having the skill set on your side to be able to step in and really help guide is powerful. Let's talk about the elder side, because I know during COVID, that's been a big rise and a big focus too. So talk about some of the, not typical cases, but some of the things that you've been seeing around the elder care.
In elder law, we have seen a lot of issues that have cropped up during the pandemic, especially during the early days when older residents of Shelby County, especially those who are in nursing home facilities, were cut off from their loved ones. It made it a lot more difficult for loved ones to discover abuse situations with their elderly relatives. And I'll back up and say, Spencer referred to a program that we participate in called the CREA program. That stands for Coordinated Response to Elder Abuse. The Community Legal Center is one of dozens of agencies in Shelby County that work together to provide seamless, holistic, wraparound care for older people in Shelby County who are being abused. Sadly, the statistics tell us that about 1 in 10 older people are at risk of abuse, whether that is financial or physical abuse or neglect. So here in Shelby County, we have about 130,000 people who are over the age of 65. So that's 13,000 people in our area who are at risk for abuse. And the CREA program allows for anyone who is referred to that program because they are being abused, or if they are self-neglecting, for example, to receive the care that they need from different service providers, whether those be medical, in-home care, or legal care. So during the pandemic, unfortunately, we saw families that were not able to discover abuse situations in their loved ones because they were physically cut off from them. We also saw seniors being more isolated in a world where we could not gather in person, and we had to depend on virtual technologies to stay in touch with our loved ones, which can sometimes be more difficult for older folks to access. We saw a lot of issues with stimulus checks early in the pandemic being taken by unscrupulous relatives. So now that the world has started to open back up, thankfully, caregivers are able to see their loved ones again and see these issues. And if they do spot an abuse situation, or if just a concerned person in the community sees these issues, they're able to more easily bring them to the concern of the CREA program.
Talk about the Parents Clinic and what that entails.
Yeah. So we have an attorney on staff named Tina that works up at the courthouse downtown near our location as well. But she is working specifically with a new program that we're excited about, where she is able to offer non-custodial parents, so people who are typically not having custody in a formal sense of their children at the moment, a route towards securing some formal visitation. So that being said, that would require a parent to set up a permanent parenting plan with the other parent. That would make them have need of making sure that they're paying child support and some of these other more formal structures to allow that to happen. But that's something we're particularly excited about that's going on at the moment.
Give us one or two, obviously not naming specific cases and names, but give us one or two other stories or cases that illustrate the impact that you're able to have on our citizens here.
Absolutely. Well, why don't we first talk about a case that we saw recently in our elder law program. I think that it demonstrates quite well the effect that kind of medical self-neglect can have on the well-being of a community kind of beyond the individual person. So our elder law attorney was made aware through the CREA program of large amounts of police reports for domestic violence at a particular address. CREA partners intervened and discovered that really the situation was that it was a husband and a wife, but the wife was not taking care of herself just due to her mental capacity. She was not complying with her medications and going to see her care providers regularly. And that was affecting her relationship with her husband in a physical way. And they would have fights and there would be physical altercations. And that even resulted in the husband leaving the home and going to stay with relatives or even in a homeless shelter at one point because, he could not be around his wife and could not care for her in a way that would address these issues. Once she was referred to the CREA program, our attorney was able to have a neutral third party appointed as her conservator, which a conservator is someone who steps in and is able to make legal, financial, medical decisions on behalf of a person who is judged by the court to not be able to make those decisions for themselves anymore. So the third party was able to step in and now is making sure that she is taken care of, taking her to her medical appointments, making sure that she takes her medications. And now her husband can just be her husband, doesn't have to worry about her becoming violent or there being physical altercations, doesn't have to worry about leaving and needing to go to a homeless shelter because he cannot stay at the home. They're able to live together and have a peaceful life. So I think that shows how well our CREA partners work together to really address the needs of a whole family and kind of put all those pieces together. And another story that I'll mention just briefly is a story of our whole team working together to help an immigrant who had come to this country and wanted to become a naturalized citizen, but had special needs that would prevent him from being able to do all the things he needed to do independently to take the naturalization test. This person also needed a conservator. So our civil law attorneys were able to work together with our immigration attorneys to make sure that a conservator was appointed for this person who could help him do everything that he needed to do in order to become a naturalized citizen. And that person was able to become a naturalized citizen. And if he's not been sworn in yet, will be soon. But we're very proud of the way that our whole staff has worked together to care for the client.
Spencer, what would you add when you look at those stories of impact and what they mean for the individuals? Carry that over into what warms your heart and puts a smile on your face when you look at what you're able to do with your team to be able to make a difference in the community.
Absolutely. So what's really special about our program is that the people that come to us as clients, they are seeking empowerment and a way forward for themselves. It's not that we are these great superheroes that are, sweeping in and saving these people from situations. These are people that are really trying to take advantage of the opportunities that are before them with their limited economic resources, understanding that this is truly the single pathway forward in Memphis when you need legal representation. One of the things that I think has really impacted my heart, and I think is something that might just not be broadly known, is the distinction between civil and criminal law and what that means for representation. When you think about criminal law, we're all familiar with the idea of a public defender or some type of publicly provided attorney. Where the CLC steps in and fills this gap is on the civil side of law, where there's no guarantee of any type of representation. Diana spoke to this earlier, but these are people that are either going to have a very difficult time being able to afford a private attorney or would have to go about it themselves, navigating a really complicated area of practice that they have no formal training in. So it really warms my heart seeing not only the personal touch that we have, but just knowing that our community is made more responsible when we're approaching justice, making sure that people are accessing it more fairly and having a fairer shot, particularly in situations of unbalanced power as we think about possible tenants versus landlords or any of these other situations. It really warms my heart to see what the CLC does in that world.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned the criminal versus the civil to make that distinction. I think that's really important. Carry that forward because you mentioned the landlord. And I think that is an important piece of this is when you talk about just tenant rights, maybe give an illustration around that in terms of being able to really help and what that entails and looks like.
Well, we counsel folks all the time on what their rights are with respect to their landlord-tenant situations. Everything from understanding the lease that you sign and what is and is not allowed under the lease to under the landlord-tenant law that is applicable to Shelby County, what your landlord must do. It must provide for you, or rules that your landlord must follow before taking certain actions. We have even gone out into the community. Our civil law attorneys gave a presentation to Memphis Animal Services earlier this year about the legal rights that renters have with respect to pets, some legal issues that might crop up when people have pets in a living situation that is perhaps not pet friendly or becomes not pet friendly. When those situations crop up, how people can go about addressing those legal situations. And really, we were working with their incredible pet resource specialists to help empower them to help the people that call Memphis Animal Services with what sometimes appear to be pet issues, but really turn out to be legal issues. So we're looking forward to going out and doing more community events that help people understand their rights as tenants. And then if they're making the leap from being tenants to homeowners, understanding what you sign, like understanding the purchase contracts that you sign before you sign them to make sure that you are not in a situation that involves a predatory rent to own situation, for example. So our attorneys not only do advice and counsel for landlord tenant issues, but they also try to provide community education to prevent issues before they arise.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to making sure that nobody's taken advantage of, that you have protection and you're equipped and you're empowered to do the right thing and to be protected. So I appreciate that for sure. Talk about how the community can help, because obviously for what you do, financial contributions, being a nonprofit to help underwrite your efforts, I think that's an important piece of this for sure. So talk about how the community can help.
We are almost entirely run by individual donations and grants. The way that we distinguish ourselves from Memphis Area Legal Services is that we actually don't qualify for some of their grant funding that makes up probably some of the largest chunks of funding for the legal aid community. So that being said, we really have relied on the generosity of people throughout the Memphis community for over 25 years now. It's fun to be a staple and sort of have that brand awareness and let people know that, when these situations arrive in their lives or in the lives of their loved ones, that they can send them our way. But truly, I think that I would be remiss, especially as the director of development, to not say that we constantly need that support, especially as we're coming out of the pandemic and thinking about that our call numbers are going up. That's something we want to push more and more every day. The easiest way to do that, I would suggest, is to become a monthly supporter of the CLC. Online, we've made everything very, very easy for you to do so, but that constant stream of financial support not only ties you into updates and information about what's going on with us, but helps us to know that we are regularly having people that are wanting to be a part of our team. And again, it truly is a team effort. Within our 15-person staff, all the pro bono attorneys that help with us, all the community members, it takes a village, truly.
We'll wrap up with a website, contact information. Where do we go to become a monthly donor and to sign up and make sure that we're in the loop on everything, and also refer people your way? So website, social media, phone number, where would you direct us to go?
clcmemphis.org. That's got to be it. It's a really extensive website. Again, you can learn more details about all of the things that we've touched on today and many of the things that we haven't. But it's a very user-friendly website, and we'd welcome anybody to come check it out.
Well, Spencer, Diana, thank you for all you and your amazing team do. Thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having
Thank you,
us.
Darren.